Good morning. My name is Roddy Bell Shelton Biggs. As Brenna mentioned, I am the intern minister for our congregation in Fredericksburg, Virginia. It is so wonderful to be here with each of you this morning. And I have to say, before even moving forward, standing here looking at a picture of Matthew Taylor, Matthew and I never got the chance to know each other personally. We interacted so many times online, so many text messages, and we were looking forward to meeting weeks before an untimely death. Matthew was courage. Take a breath with me, beloveds. Brian Andreas, an American writer, poet, and artist, wrote, "Anyone can slay a dragon, but waking up every morning and loving the road all over again, that takes courage. Those are the real heroes." As Unitarian Universalists, we are called to be weavers of a multicultural tapestry of accountability. To be such weavers takes courage. We might still need some work as well. So where might we find the courage to continue the work? Well, we might not necessarily be called to slay a dragon, but we are called to wake up every morning and to love the road all over again, especially those mornings when we don't want to love the road at all. Here's what I'm wondering this morning, and it doesn't have to do anything with slaying dragons, but everything to do with slaying oppression and inequality in the world. I'm wondering what happens when a faith community's journey leads it down a new path. I'm wondering, when uncovered, how we might respond to narratives of guilt, shame, and injustice. And I'm wondering how we hold accountable the histories of violence and oppression, naming the humanity once and still denied by comfortable silence. I'm wondering what choices we make from here. Maybe you're wondering many of the same things, trying to figure out which courses, which actions to take. Brené Brown, a researcher and storyteller who has spent the last 2 decades studying courage, vulnerability, shame, guilt, empathy, and so much more, once wrote, "You can choose courage, or you can choose comfort, but you cannot choose them both." So in other words, if we wish to choose courage, it will mean moving away from comfort for the sake of comfort, as we share and explore stories swept under the rug of injustice. A path of courage, friends, a path of accountability, challenges the fabric of the institution, the systems in which it was founded. Foundations rooted in patriarchy, white supremacy, heteronormativity, and in the oppressions of others, takes courage to overcome, to counter with love. This path calls upon all of us all of us, those of us who are spiritual, those of us who are religious, those of us who are human travelers, unsure about all of the spiritual religious language, to be the seekers, the journeyers, the healers, the truth bringers, as we journey collectively, quite imperfectly, I might add, towards spiritual wholeness, as we continue working to build diverse, multicultural, beloved communities by actions that accountably dismantle all of the systems of oppression we know all too well. So called to be weavers of a multicultural tapestry of accountability requires courage. And we have only just begun to explore what this promise to be weavers of such tapestry might mean. We must ask ourselves every day where we might still need some work as a liberal faith community. We have to recognize that one sermon, one good job, one book reflection, one meditation, one good effort won't begin to come close. We have to be willing to enter into the discomfort again and again and again. We have to be willing to wake up every morning ready to love the world we don't want to love all over again. So to this end, beloveds, our sacred promise, our sacred journey becomes how, not if, not when, but how we seek to achieve such an enormous task of beloved community, of loving a hurting world, of building the community we wish, of living into 7 to 8 principles, depending upon who you ask. But that doesn't really matter, for these principles behind us, the ones that are intoned into our hearts, are words. They mean nothing if not put into action, if we don't live them, if we don't honor them, if we don't wrestle with them, if we don't argue over language of them. For the principles of our faith are what calls us to love the world over and over again, and it's how we use those principles that matter. And so, beloveds, it takes courage. It takes courage to love a world and a people. Another person who showed such courage, who I can't help but to wonder if this person inspired Matthew as they've inspired me, is Gloria Jean Watkins, better known by her pen name, Bell Hooks, an American author and activist. Hooks has been quoted saying more than once, how do we hold people accountable for wrongdoing and yet at the same time remain in touch with their humanity enough to believe in their capacity to be transformed? Let me say that again. How do we hold people accountable for wrongdoing and yet at the same time remain in touch with their humanity enough to believe in their capacity to be transformed. That right there, beloveds, to believe in a capacity to be transformed, a capacity to be transformed, accountable for wrongdoings, transformed by, with, and because of humanity alone, takes courage. It takes courage to be accountable. It takes courage to be transformed. And it takes courage to believe in others' capacities to be transformed as well. Oh, beloveds, we are not yet fully the beloved community, the liberal faith that we wish to be. And it will take courage to get there. It will take courage to love a world full of people, full of stories, full of broken histories. So, beloveds, how do we show such courage? How do we lean into the uncertainty, the countless challenges? How do we show courage and build the fully liberal faith of radical inclusion, a world of love and justice, you might ask? You didn't, but you might. The answer is both one that is simple and complex. We must organize. We must dream, recruit, lead, and follow. We must celebrate and vote and canvass. We must build and invite and include, pray and resist, bless and defund, imagine, fundraise, transform, collaborate, redistribute, repair, establish, trailblaze, protest, and above all else, we must side with love. And so, beloveds, as Unitarian Universalists, we are called to be many things. We are the weavers of people, of history, of stories we would rather not have to carry. And we are tasked with combining it all into a beautiful tapestry, into being accountable, and into remembering that each and every one of us is worthy. We were called to be here by one way or another. And so, to close this reflection, this sermon or homily, I invite the words of Alondria Williams into this space. He was a co-moderator for our UU association and a dear beloved and mentor of mine. Unfortunately, he passed at the beginning of the pandemic. We are worthy, not because of what we produce, but because of who we are. We are divine bodies of light and darkness. You are not worthy because of what you offer, not because of what is in your mind, not for the support you give others, not for what you give at all. You are worthy and whole just because. In this great turning, in this great pandemic, in this radical readjustment and alignment, we are not disposable. We are needed. We are the very people who have withstood everything that has been thrown at us. And as a people, as Maya Angelou would say, still I rise. We rise from the pain. We rise from the grief. We arise from the limits people place on us and the limits we place on ourselves. We rise to be the children and the ancestors. We rise to be our true selves, recognizing and liberating our true selves, honoring them and others as we strive for abundant communities, abundant lives, abundant relationships, and abundant values and cultural manifestations. We are worthiness personified. We are worthy and deserve a life, not always having to fight for our existence. Imagine what a world we could create if we were not always in the struggle. Imagine what we could envision if we could just let go and get there. So tired of always having to resist, to fight, demanding, pushing. To everyone that has the courage, the power, the ability to co-create what we need while rooting in that which we cannot lose. You are the visionary. You are the hope. You are our ancestors' dreams. No, you might not ever end up on a list somewhere, but you are on the list of someone's heart and mind. And it's not how you move through the world, but the example you set. You are the embodiment of what you need, of what we need. Thanks to all that are the embodiment not of productivity, but the embodiment of radical love, care, and sanctuary. It's time, embodiment time, embodiment, living one's values out loud. Let me every day live my values out loud. Let us every day live our values out loud, embodying our values, not the productivity, embodying our values. It's time. Oh, beloveds, it's time. Amen. Ashe, and blessed be.